What's up, Autocons and Deceptibots? This is Deceptibot 9 here, and I'm very excited to bring you the inaugural episode of my Transformers review series. We're starting off really high with the figure choice. Something pretty fairly new in the stores that I found. We got the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Spoilers Inside box. We found this at Walmart the other day for retailing for $60. This is really the only Netflix figure that I was excited to get a hold of. Mostly for the things that are inside. Spoiler alert, I know what they are. I've looked at it a couple times. The packaging is really cool, and we'll get into that in a minute. But first, if you don't know, so this is based off of the Netflix original series based on the War for Cybertron trilogy. The first part, Siege, is coming to us in June, which is really exciting news. We found out about that back a couple months back, that Rooster Teeth was animating it. And then Hasbro also announced that we were getting toys based off of it. There's a bunch of deluxe figures. There's a couple Voyagers that also come with some Target Master figures. And then there's this one, which is a leader class figure, and it has some special goodies on the inside. So I'm here to unbox it with you guys, show you what's on the inside, and we'll also just take a look at the contents itself. We'll take a little review. Hopefully you guys like it. You'll have to let me know. So before we get started opening it up, let's take a look at the packaging here. You see it looks like a big old shipping container type thing, Cybertronian. It's got all the logos and stuff on the front. It says spoilers inside. We've got here on the top, it's got like a carrying handle, which is interesting and really neat. On the side, this will spoil the character inside for you if you don't know who it is already. Not much else to it out here. We see a little bit of peaks of pink. That gives a hint to some of the other contents on the inside. So to open up this box, there's this little flap right here. You're just going to lift that up, and that whole top flap comes revealed. And we've got right here, you can see in there, that's the little Play-Doh section. There's a little hidden mystery item in there. We'll get to that at the end. Don't worry. But there's also some Cybertronian script on there with some Autobot and Decepticon logos. One more flip of that, and that reveals the contents of the box itself. So I'm going to set the main box off to the side, and you'll see here, this is just showing us the back of the figures, nothing special. We'll pop that out, show that off in a second. We get some instruction manuals and whatnot. And then here's the inside container art. We got an Autobot symbol. Not a whole lot going on here, but still very cool to see packaging like this, honestly. So let's take a look at how they're set up and get some spoilers. Finally, you get to figure out who's in this package. We have a repaint version of Siege Leader Class Ultra Magnus, which is the big main figure, obviously. And we have a special pink translucent version of Rung, which is great to have because Wave 5 never really made it to my state, so I never got a chance to grab Rung. I am planning on grabbing the one in Earthrise, though. And as you can see, I have not opened this figure part at all yet, so I'm going to go ahead and open that real quick, and we'll get into a closer look detailing the figures. All right, so here is the Netflix Ultra Magnus all unboxed and weapon geared up. The sculpt and the mold is the same as the regular Siege release. So we first saw this mold late 2018, beginning of 2019 as a leader class figure. And for comparison, here they both are. You'll see lots of the base colors are the same. The whites and the blues and the reds are pretty identical across the board. But one of the main differences with the Netflix version is there's just a lot of now gray molded and painted all across random parts. I just keep finding them. There's a silver on the hands, on the front of the hands there. Only one of the legs has this black or gray deco on it. And we'll delve into that a little bit more when we get down to the little base version of Ultra Magnus. But since these are the armored up modes, there are some significant differences. This one also doesn't have the like dirty deco that they gave the regular Siege ones, except for the Netflix repaint that they gave him here. All of his weapons are different. You'll see the regular release is silver. This one is gray for the main gun. The shoulder cannons, these ones are just all gray, while these ones are white and red. The only ones that are the same, and they're not even totally the same, are the leg guns here at the bottom, just because they're molded all in black. But this Ultra Magnus had his tip painted in silver, while this one is fully black, just like the Galaxy Upgrade Prime that we saw later 2019. And articulation for these are the same. The arms do swivel all the way around. We get elbow joints, we get forearm swivel. The head goes around on its little ball joint that it's got. Its waist does swivel as well. Legs go forward and back on a nice ratchet, in and out. Be warned, at least on my figure, his leg came out of the package loose, so that's a little disappointing, but not too bad. His knee does bend, and we get ankle pivot as well. That's nice and tight on mine. I'm not going to delve too much into the transformation and the removal of pieces on this guy, because there are a million videos on the mold out there, and I don't want to just bog this video down with that. So what we're going to do is we'll convert him into his base, just the little Voyager mold that's in there, the little Optimus Prime base body, and then I'll do the same thing with the other one, and we'll look at those two together. All right, so here is Magnus in his, as I call him, I just call him regular Magnus when he's in this mode, in his base little Prime mode. And, you know, I kind of dig the gray and the black stuff that they've got going on this deco. I don't know what it is about it. I haven't been able to figure out exactly why I like it so much. As opposed to the regular release, which is just an all pure white with a speck of the blues in the windows and the head, and the grays for the arms, and of course the blue on the back. You can still notice some differences there, although that is just appearing more silver. Anyway, and I'm not, all the Netflix figures have this weird deco on it, and it's not like a dirty deco at all. It just seems like they wanted to darken the figures a little bit. I know for the Hound, at least, they just sort of darkened the green, and it makes them look a little darker. And I think because they're going for a little more dark tone for the show, that they want to try to darken the figures up a little bit. I'm not 100% sure if that's accurate. We'll find out in a month, I guess. But if you like this mold, you're gonna like this figure. If you want the deco, of course, which I did. I liked this Ultra Magnus mold enough to buy him again, obviously. Just that little bit different deco. And he still looks incredible in this little Prime body mold that he's got going on. Articulation in this mold, again, it's pretty much the same as the big armored up version, so I won't bog that down there. But yeah, that dirty deco, it's really interesting on the white, as opposed to the offsetting of the red and the blue. I think it really pops a little bit on this white and makes it look pretty cool, pretty interesting. So maybe I'll display this one in this mode, and I'll display the other one in the regular mode. We'll see how that goes. Now I'll convert into the vehicle. We'll talk about the vehicle. And so here he is in that very RID 2001 inspired truck, and it still looks really nice, really good. You're just seeing that gray and that black sort of coming through across, giving off that interesting aesthetic that we can't really pinpoint what it is. Although if someone does know what it is, please go ahead, let me know. But it's just showing a little bit in all those places. It's mostly on the bottom half here of the truck, which is interesting, with some splashes of blue and white going on at the bottom. But the trailer part, at least, you get the blue and then you get the gray on the bottom. really interesting how that works out. I guess I didn't notice that when he was in robot mode. And to compare him with our other Ultra Magnus here, you see obviously blues, and the base colors are still the same. We're just getting a little bit of that darker gray going on through the figure. Overall, you know, for the Ultra Magnus specifically, if you're thinking about picking this box set up, if you liked the Ultra Magnus mold from Siege enough to get him again just with a slightly darker color palette in certain areas, I think you'll like this figure. Like I said, I think I'm going to use mine to display in that miniature size mold, and I'll use the other one in the fully upgraded Magnus. The price is, like I said, jacked up a little bit. It is $60 now, but we can't forget that that's for our little guy, Rung. The instructions label him as Battlefield Rung, so I'm not sure if Rung is going to factor into the Netflix show at all. I certainly think that would be an interesting take, and if this pink powered up mode has anything to do with the other contents of the box that we have not gotten to, but we will. So this Rung, in terms of detail and molding, is the same as the regular standard retail release, as far as I can tell, because again, I don't actually have that figure, at least not until Wave 2 of Earthrise. And he does come still with some Power Blast effects that in the original figure are molded in blue, but here they are molded in a translucent pink, just as the figure is. Now, he is small enough that I think we can do some more stuff on camera with. I know it's kind of hard to see here, and if my camera would focus, but of course it probably won't. There is some specks of blue coming on here in his eyes and on that spot on his chest. A little backstory on Rung, if you don't know. I actually don't know a whole lot. I've only read some of the recent comics and didn't really know a whole lot about this guy until I heard he was the reincarnation, spoiler, of Primus, which is really exciting to me because Cybertron was the first cartoon that I grew up with, so Primus has a special place in my heart. We'll do a review of him one day, at least the figure that I have. It's in kind of rough condition. But anyway, Rung is a reincarnation of Primus, but he doesn't know it, which can go for some interesting, fun times to be had. Now, in terms of Rung's transformation into a vehicle mode, typically in the comics, he was not depicted with one, as far as I know. So they sort of decided that they just should give him one. And just like that, with a flip of a back, some flip of an arms, and tabbing in the legs, you have a spaceship mode, I guess. You could certainly use it as some sort of quick transport vehicle, I assume. Looks Cybertronian enough to me. And on the back there, down on his feet, rather, I guess, it's hard to tell on this translucent pink. It's not really coming through a whole lot on my camera, but there are little ports, little 5mm ports, and that's where these Power Blast pieces come in, or the effect pieces, whatever you prefer them to be called. Boom, just like that, so he can sort of look as if he's flying back and forth through things, or if you would like to display a figure with him, because as are all the legends, he is a battle master, so he comes equipped as well as a gun, like for Prow here, say, or the Ultra Magnus, whatever. So I think it's quite an interesting inclusion to have Rung in this set. And I don't know if it's just because they wanted to redeco him and re-release him in another set, or if he will actually factor into the show. We haven't really seen enough yet to know, but I really think it would be really cool if we could get him in some capacity, but I do know that the Voyager figures, Megatron and Hot Link, also come with some Battlemaster figures, and whether they'll factor into the show being sort of less important characters than Rung, it's hard to say. But with this sort of upgraded, with the specialty packaging and with the importance of Rung as a character, it's hard to tell whether we'll see him in the show, and I certainly hope we do. So that's it, at least for this first part of the review. Stay tuned, tagging along at the end for that special little, we're going to do a fun little dig through of that Play-Doh, see what we got there. But that is it for this set. We get the Battlefield Rung and the Redecoed Siege Ultra Magnus. And so if this is your thing, go out, check your Walmarts. Of course, do so safely in this time of uncertainty and craziness. And I've been seeing the other Netflix figures out on the shelf, so if any of those look appealing to you, go for it. If not, that's great as well. I don't really have a high appeal for most of the other ones, but this one certainly piqued my interest. And I like it enough that if we get another one, I think I would buy it. That's definitely for sure. So anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hopefully you'll come back soon. I'll have more content coming up soon. Reviews, figures, old, new, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you stick around. See ya. Okay, for the special end of video little fun, I have pulled out the black Play-Doh. That's what it seems to be to me. So we're gonna go ahead and dig through, pull some out, see what we got going on. Yeah, so here's a little chunk. I believe this is just some Play-Doh. Well, and that wasn't very hard to find. That was right at the top. So we have a little special package here. I don't know if you can tell what those are, but it's some Energon cubes, which was part of the reason I wanted to get this set. We'll open these up, take a little deep dive at those here too. I think that's all that's in this. Otherwise, yeah. It's just Play-Doh. It's cool, I guess. I don't really understand why they had to do it in Play-Doh, but they went for it. They didn't give it in a tub that you can like put a top back on. So you'll need to take it all out and then like put it in a bag if you want to use it. Otherwise, it's going to sit in this tub and it's going to dry out. Yeah, I don't know. That wasn't as fun as I was hoping it would be. I didn't realize that they were in a little baggie. I thought they were just going to be like in the Play-Doh. They seem to just be plastic, honestly, but that's fine with me. That was easy. Oh my goodness. I was not prepared for that level of easiness. Like I was saying, I expected that to be like more difficult, honestly, but that's dirty. Anyway, I guess it's good they didn't just put the Energon in the Play-Doh, because then the Energon would be dirty. But now my fingers are all gross. Anyway, so here's our Energon cubes. This is honestly, for some reason, a driving factor in me wanting to get the set. To my knowledge, there's never been sort of Energon cube, just cubes that have come out. At least none that I own, so I think it's a little interesting just to get some little Energon cubes. I think it's a fun little piece. And I'd actually kind of like them to do more things like this if they could figure out a better way to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, honestly. But anyway, that's the fun special surprise. I dropped one. If you stuck around for this little extra part, thank you. You didn't have to. I know your curiosity was probably exploding. But anyway, I hope you come back to the channel regularly for the more content that I will produce. Thanks for stopping by. See you later.